This is Hard Parking, sponsored by Right Honda and Right Toyota out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Man, what a weekend. Oh, I'm sorry if this is your first time listening. I'm your host, Jhae Finning, recording from my home studio in Gilbert, Arizona. So welcome to the show. Before we get on with the show, some observations. So if you hear my mouth clicking, it's because I am polishing off the Buffalo Trace. It's a good sipper daily. I bought the bottle couple months ago, but need to make room on the shelf. Doesn't fit in the well drawer. So the well, if you guys drink, is the stuff you go up to the bar. So let's say you're at a party, like let's say a wedding reception, and it's an open bar. The open bar is going to serve you well liquors. Now Buffalo Trace is kind of like, I think it's on the edge, right? Because it's a $25 bottle of bourbon. Buffalo Trace Distillery puts out a lot of bourbons. Some of them are incredibly expensive, but it starts with Buffalo Trace. Everything starts with Buffalo Trace. So I call it a well. Don't be upset. Anyway, I'm polishing that off, but I also had this like little ice cream drumstick. I call it a micro drumstick. This thing can't be more than 3.5 inches tall, and it's from Trader Joe's. My wife loves Trader Joe's. You Trader Joe's people are freaking weird. You guys love all your Trader Joe's shit. So she buys these little things, and I look at her and I go, why do you keep buying these little ass ice cream? And she says, well, because it's a snack, and that way you don't overindulge. But I would say a normal sized drumstick isn't overindulging unless you eat one every 5 minutes. I probably average less than 3 full-size ice cream drumsticks a year. That's how infrequent we eat things like that around here. And usually when my wife starts buying a bunch of stupid shit, it's because our grandson wants it or something. Or the kids come by and they want it. I want an ice cream sandwich. Everyone knows around here, that's my favorite. I don't remember the last time we had a box of ice cream sandwiches in the freezer. Now, sure, I could go buy some. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll go to Costco this week and buy a big-ass box of ice cream sandwiches, but my crazy mother-in-law will probably eat them all. She's diabetic. She has no business doing that, but the candy that we have slowly disappears. The chips that we have, carbs, disappears at a faster rate. Mixed nuts disappears like you would think we had rodents in the house. Like she attacks that stuff, man. And so we don't buy it. We don't buy as much of it because we're trying to look out for her and we're looking out for ourselves. Had something interesting happen to me today. I jotted it down, like to jot down things that are interesting. Oh, by the way, this weekend we did our OneLESS. You guys have heard me talking about it. I had Mimi on last week. I'll give you the results of that. I'll recap that a little bit. And that's an interview session. 13 minutes worth of interviews from OneLESS. You're not going to want to miss it. A lot of people to think. Something happened to me weird today. I'm at the gas station and pumping gas in the NSX. That's what you do at the gas station. Guy comes out, or he just pops out of nowhere. It's at a Circle K. Kind of walking toward me. I kind of see him in the corner of my eye, like, okay, yeah. Because he gave me like a thumbs up, and I kind of looked down and put my foot on the brake and then hit the start button. You know, it's kind of act like it's like, all right, I've acknowledged you. Cool, what's up? I'm about to take off. He gets close to the front of the car, and he kind of crosses over the front of the car to the passenger side, basically like, hey, man, roll your window down, buddy. Roll my window down. I go, hey, man, what's up? He goes, oh, man, this is so freaking cool. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. So we started talking about cars a little bit. He goes like, man, I used to have a 1990 Acura Integra LS. I'm like, okay, this guy, he's not just some rando, right? He actually knows what he's talking about. And in 94, I test drove one of those, the other NSXs, the first gen, man. This thing is super cool, man. This is awesome. I was like, yo, man, thank you. Oh, by the way, before this, as I'm actually pumping gas, because at this time I was done. So this is the second person in this very short trip that is talking to me. So the first guy, I'm pumping the gas and I look up, and this older guy who's pumping on the opposite pump. So probably 15, 20 feet away, not the one like right where I'm at, but the next one over. He's kind of looking at me, kind of giving me a look of approval of the car. He's like, hey, man, that's a really nice ride. I was like, thank you, man. How often do you get stopped in that thing? I'm sitting there thinking, my first reaction was just by random people, not by police. Because I've never been pulled over by the police in my NSX. And I was like, Not very often, actually. He goes, yeah, it's surprising. Usually people with cars like that get pulled over all the time. It's like, nah, man. And so we kind of talked a little bit, but the guy is smoking a cigarette at the fucking gas pump. It's older. He's probably 58, 62. Talking about the car, and I go, yeah, it's a V6. You know, I don't want to go through the whole specs. You know, that's boring. No one wants to hear that shit. If you're here to hear about nothing but cars, wrong podcast. I love you, though. Stick around. You might actually fall in love with this. But I'm looking at the guy like, this dude is standing 6 feet away from his car while the gas is just pumping into it and puffing on a cigarette while we're talking about cars. So he gets in his car. Yeah, you have a good night. A good afternoon. Yeah, you too. I was like, yeah, buddy, stay safe out there. And then that's when I wrap up. I'm getting in the car. And then the other guy from the first part of the story comes around. So anyway, fast forward. Yeah, I test drove one of these NSXs in 1994. It's a bitchin' ride. It's like, yeah, man, thanks, man. Appreciate it. He goes, hey, you, by any chance, you don't happen to be going this way, right? And he kind of throws his thumb. And I was like, actually, I wasn't. I was going the other way. I go, no, man, I'm going this way. He's like, oh, man, huh? Like, wait a minute. Are you asking? Is this stranger about to ask me for a ride? Awkward, right? But he wasn't just some random bum. He was just somebody who decided to walk to the store. But he goes, hey, can you rev it when you leave, man? It's like, well, first off, it's not really a manual, so I'm not going to drop it in neutral just to, entertain you. But I totally would have just pulled out of the gas station and just launched. Except this gas station was on a corner, and as I was pulling in, there was a police officer that had stopped in the turn lane because there was someone with a bad car, like a stalled car or something. It's like, I am not about to pull out and just floor this thing. It's not like it's some random white sports car. No, it's a very unique looking vehicle. And as I'm driving off, I'm thinking, I gave it a little bit of gas. I'm like, I would have given this guy the show that he wanted, and he would have loved it, and it would have been the most awesome thing to him. Except I'm not trying to get a ticket for that shit. And the things we do for random strangers, right? But I didn't do it. I've been finding myself getting really angry lately when I'm driving. Really angry. And I've had this written down as something to bitch about for weeks. And every time I'm out, whether I'm in the NSX or the Infiniti or the Acura MDX, doesn't matter what I'm driving. People just drive way too damn slow around here. And I can't blame the snowbirds. It's everybody. You could be on a 45-mile-an-hour road and people are driving 30, and you're like, what the f*** is going on around here? So can you go around them? No, you can't go around them. You know why? Because it's a 6-lane road, and all 3 lanes on your side are people going 30 to 35 to 40, but not fast enough to really make that separation. And I'm not that guy that's so impatient. I'm just going to go around you, cut you off, and take off just to see you at the next light. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm not really a road rage guy. I get angry behind the wheel and just like, I curse at people. I don't flick them off. I don't stare them down. I don't get in front of them and slam on my brakes. My dad was that guy. Get in front of them and slam on the brakes. Great, Dad. What the hell are you trying to do? Get us rear-ended? Trying to get our ass kicked? Or are you trying to get us shot? Dad. My dad was that guy. Don't cut my wife off either. She gets pissed. I just laugh. If I'm in traffic and you cut me off, I just chuckle because I'm like, really? Is it really? You're really that? Okay, whatever. Had a guy honk at me the other night. I was going to pick up Thai food. I'm going through, it's this huge area where, you have the big stores and the little stores, and you're driving through the parking lot. And I'm probably going like 10 mile an hour. I just picked up the Thai food. I'm looking for the next stop sign that's actually going to allow me to turn out of the shopping district, but not one that's so close to the major intersection where you have to sprint across before you take a left, because that's what you would have to do. So I'm going down, and I finally get to one that I can go past. And as you turn, the person just honks like, I just want you to know that I'm behind you, and I thought you were going too damn slow, so I'm just going to lay on my horn as I just keep going straight because I'm not going to do anything. I just want you to know. So don't be that person either. Because I was kind of like looking back like, okay, whatever. Anyway, coming up on today's show, like I said earlier, OneLESS recap. Stick around for the end, and I'll tell you how much money and food we were able to raise with this awesome, ginormous event. If you're local to me and you didn't go because you were just too effing lazy, hopefully we'll see you next year. I don't really have tolerance for that type of person, especially if I personally reach out and invite you. But if you had issues where you couldn't go, planning, family, other things, I get it. But if you didn't feel like going, we didn't need you anyway. We fucking killed it this year. Also, a little bit of car news. All that and more coming up after this word from 4Wheel Online. Jhae Finning here, and I want to tell you guys about 4Wheel Online. For over a decade, 4Wheel Online has been bringing the best truck accessories and truck parts to enhance the appearance and performance of all trucks and SUVs. They are dedicated to providing an extensive range of upgrades that will match any maker model on the road. The truck products cover everything you need to give your truck a custom look and added functionality. And if you need a tire and wheel package, head over and use the configuration tool. They carry all the major brands of wheels and tires, so go get outfitters today. So visit them online at 4Wheel Online or call them at 813-769-2451. Again, that's 4Wheel Online, the number 4Wheel Online. Sitting here with Grace of the United Food Bank. She is a director of philanthropy. She kind of helps us every single year get this thing going. What's up? Welcome to Hard Parking officially.
What's going on, guys? Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. This is the first time, and I've said this on every episode for the last couple of weeks, first time we've had the parking lot back. A lot of good cars out here. But, tell us about you and why it's so important for us to do this and why it's important for people to do this, period.
Yeah, this event is amazing, especially this year. We are so blessed to have you guys all supporting us. United Food Bank, this is our 40th anniversary that we've been in the community helping people. And basically, we're a very large distribution center where we support over 150 agencies. So that could be school districts, after-school programs like Boys and Girls Clubs, senior centers, homeless shelters, smaller food pantries that basically, give the food out to the community that needs it.
How do you guys get the food? Because when we do this every year, usually what stops us every time isn't time, it's running out of something.
Exactly, yeah. So, we get our food in a variety of ways. We purchase food, we get it through grocery store rescue, we get it through Food Drive donations, and through government funding.
How can people help out? Because, we're obviously doing a car show, but they don't have to necessarily sit around and just wait for an opportunity.
So there's so many ways. You can host a food drive. That's always a super easy way. You can get involved. You can come volunteer. We have shifts every single day from 9 to 11 and from 12 to 2 p.m. And we also have some evening shifts and Saturday shifts. And we accept ages 5 and up. So you can bring your little ones, make it a whole family thing. And you can also donate. Donations right now are really important because food prices have gone up and gas prices have gone up, and inflation is hitting everyone, including United Food Bank, right? So we're not able to get as much food as we used to with the same amount of funding, and so that's why donations, even turkeys during the holidays is super important.
You guys just had a turkey drive that got canceled, but people can still help out somehow, right? They just bring turkeys or what?
Yeah, so this Tuesday we have another turkey drive with the city of Mesa, and we have Five Guys Roofing matching turkey donations. And so you can go to the Mesa Convention Center this Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. and drop off your frozen turkey.
Grace, how long have you been doing this?
I've been with United Food Bank for 5 years, but I've been with the nonprofit world for about 7 years.
So you had just kind of started then when we first started doing it.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
I remember when we first started, you guys came up to us and just with this kind of dream of let's help the community and let's help one less person go hungry. And I thought that was such a cool theme to it. It's just awesome. That's the whole purpose, right?
That is, and we got to give Mimi credit for that. She was doing events, I think at Dutch Brothers, or one of those places that I can't stand. And I'm never going to understand Dutch Brothers. I'm never going to understand it. But someone had approached her, and she came to you guys and brought us in. She used to be on the OneAuto Council, so a lot of the stuff that we've been responsible for or have done is due to her and her RadOrDie events promotion. So,
yes, she's been a rock star. And this is our 6th one, and this is so far the biggest one we've had. We're already up to 35,000 meals that you guys help provide through this event. We've had 100 cars register People are packing emergency food bags. They're bringing food drive donations. Like, there's so many elements to this: donations, food, helping volunteer, and also having like a really good time. And these cars are amazing.
There's a lot of nice cars out here. There's exotics. There's old school builds. Classic JDM builds. Some awesome American builds. And, there's people that I see at this show that I've never seen at the same show. You have to go to different shows. But let's go back to that number. This isn't even over yet. We haven't even done the second bagging. And this is almost 3 times of our
I think
record,
when
right?
we first started,
18 maybe?
It was 10,000 meals that we wanted to provide, and now we're up to 35,000. Like, I could not believe the response when, unfortunately, the last couple of years, we weren't able to really have this in a huge parking lot because of COVID regulations, and then also there was construction. And the minute we opened this and announced it, which was only 4 weeks before this event,
right,
everyone was super excited about it, which really says a lot about the car community. You guys are very tight knit, and you guys really care about having a good time, but also helping others, and that's so cool.
It's only going to get crazier from here. Grace, I'll let you continue walking around like a chicken with your head cut off. And I'm excited to see what our final number is going to be. Obviously, by the time we get done doing this, we're going to know. But this is incredible.
Yeah, you guys have done an amazing job. We're so grateful for everyone who has contributed, who has shown up to have just a good time and also give back, and all of our sponsors and partners that have contributed towards this, that really just adds so much value to the event. They donated, and also just bringing out NOS and bringing out ELG, and just handing out so many cool things.
How can people get involved? Like, website should they go to? Can they email you? Is there a general email box?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're always looking for really cool, unique ways to, help the community. And that's what's really different about United Food Bank. We are progressive, and not a lot of nonprofits are like that. And so we really love the younger generation, but we are always open to new ideas. And so if you have those, reach out to me. It's Grace Astor. So my email is gastor@unitedfoodbank.org.
Or get a hold of me if you guys can't get a hold of her, and I'll make sure I make that connection. Thanks, Grace, for taking time to talk on this podcast for the first time.
Thanks so much for having us.
Sergio, Mr. ELG Accident Attorneys, you are our title sponsor. Thank you for, number one, being here.
Absolutely. As soon as you ask, just check the schedule and commit it right away.
You guys do a lot of stuff in the community. I see, if anyone follows you, ELG, you guys do a lot with other businesses. Like, you like to get involved. Why?
We like to collab and be in the community. We enjoy the grassroots, being involved. We do events all the time, and it's important to us. Not only are we professionals in the community, but we live in the community too. So we like to give back. Before we rolled out here, I borrowed a van, sitting right in front of me, went to Costco, loaded it up, and loaded up a bin here too, because again, I think I mentioned I don't just want to show up and sponsor the event. I want to participate and be a partner of the event. That's important.
Well, by sponsoring the event, I mean, every single one of those dollars went to it, and we've already shattered our previous record, and we haven't even tabulated the actual food itself. Just from donations, like from financial donations, we've blown past our previous record.
That's amazing. You guys, I have to compliment you, applaud you. Not only is it a well put together event, it's fun. I spent a lot of time walking around, looking at cars, had a great time. I took a lot of pictures, but the work that goes into it, I know is not easy. And OneAuto, Jhae Fanning, Millie, RadOrDie, you guys are amazing, man. You guys have a lot of friends in the community. So I love it that people showed up, supported you guys, and kudos to you guys for shattering your record.
It's all about relationships. You ever seen a beautiful blue NSX like Mark Blomquist is over there? He's got a 2002 blue NSX. He drove up from Tucson to be here today.
It's so clean. I spent some time with that car too. I'm a fanboy.
Yeah, it's easy to be a fanboy of that car. I'm gonna get some display tips from you guys. Maybe I should get one of those big rollers. Like, how do you guys prevent that from flying off? It's kind of windy out here.
Well, those are tough. Those are tough in wind events. You don't want to pull those out in wind events. We've taken it to a golf tournament or two and had to take it down.
Right.
It ended up in the wrong hole. So if it's not windy, they're great. They're great.
Right.
So it's good. It's good to have. But the beautiful thing, if the wind picks up, you just roll it down.
You're getting ready to leave the country and do some fun stuff, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Sunday, we're flying out to Mexico City, and we get to drive on the F1 circuit, Hermanos Rodriguez racetrack in Mexico City. So I'm looking forward to that.
Are you going with like a fun group of other people, or are you just kind of taking your car down there and just relaxing?
No, they have cars there for us.
Oh, you don't have to, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to spend 2 days at the track and 2 days with the track folks. And after that, my wife and I are just going to be hanging out in the city. I've actually never been to Mexico City, so it'll be the first time out there. So we'll get to enjoy the city, do some fun driving. Again, it's just ELG doing things in the community. I got to do that through a fundraiser for Mark Anthony.
Nice.
Yeah. So thank you, Mark Anthony.
Everybody's saying thank you, Mark Anthony, for one thing or another, I'm sure.
No doubt.
Thanks for taking the time to stop by, man. And thank you for being here. We couldn't have done it, like really, we could have had this show, because that's very cliche, but we couldn't even have had as much success as we've had without you guys being here and your support.
I appreciate it. I hope I'm invited next year. It's a fun event, and you can count on ELG.
This was a trial period, but I think you're going to be all right.
Cool. I love it. Thanks.
Devin Entrim, what's up, man? This is your first OneLESS event?
This is my first OneLESS event, yes.
And you brought the limo, the famous limo.
Brought the limo out. We appreciate the invite.
Thank you for being here. What are your thoughts?
It's a good invite. I mean, number one, great event, good attendance, and the weather couldn't be any better out here today, that's for sure.
That's my car that just started up in the background. We probably started this interview a little prematurely. I made some changes.
It sounds wonderful. I like that.
So you've been traveling?
Been traveling a little bit. I had a long stint in northern New Mexico in the Santa Fe area about 2 weeks ago, so had put some miles on a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee that trip, and rented a few other vehicles. I had a Toyota Supra since we last talked, so that was pretty sweet. First time ever driving one of those.
Yeah, I still haven't driven one of those, but it's legit.
It's legit. I mean, looking up the specs, they claim 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds on that, the V6 motor. And
no kidding.
I don't know if I counted what it took to get to 60, but I got that thing pretty high up there on the interstate. So definitely an enjoyable car. Actually, pleasantly surprised by that. Wasn't a fan of when they came out with the new body style.
Right.
But the driving matters are pretty impressive.
Did you ever, were you able to get inside it all earlier, or just kind of hanging out here?
Just been kind of hanging out. Saw a couple buddies of mine that I know through the car scene and from high school, actually.
Cool.
So kind of a little mini reunion going on out here. A good buddy of mine, Cedric, with a brand new Type R Civic.
Oh, you know him?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we met at the. He was my tent mate. It sounds kind of funny, but he was my tent mate at Monoculture Sanctuary.
I saw that. Yeah, it was kind of small world stuff. He went to my high school, so we go way back.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, he's a good guy. You're an all right guy too.
Hey, I try.
Yeah. Well,
You're
thanks for.
You're not too bad yourself.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by and chatting for a couple minutes, and thank you for showing up to this event. Hopefully we can see you again next year.
I definitely plan on being back to future events, so again, I appreciate the invitation.
You know, I want to thank Grace, Sergio, and Devin for jumping on the mic. You know, there's a lot of people that were at this show that I got to see for the first time that I've been fans of them and their builds, their vehicle builds over the years. And what I was saying to Grace about the mix of cars there is, you know, some people usually only go to certain types of shows. So it's really difficult to get them to come to a charity car show when they know that the judges are random people. They're not going to score you on your wheels and on your tires. They don't know if this tire is supremely better than that tire. This wheel is a piece of shit, and that wheel over there costs more than their house. They don't care. And the people who won was pretty random, But the quality of vehicles at this OneLESS event this year in 2023, and this is no shade to anybody who's ever participated at the car show in the past, but the collection of cars there across the board, whether it was just some random bone stock Jetta, which is welcome too, their $20 registration goes to feed families just like the Lamborghinis does. But whether it was that or the Bugattis, not Bugattis, I wish we had a Bugatti, Bentleys, Lamborghinis, Team AZ NSX, which, by the way, we took home the biggest trophy for team donation. 580 pounds of food was donated by the AZ NSX crew. There's only like 8 of us. We had some people donate online as well financially. You know, special shout out to Team AZ Elites. That team has kept us afloat for the past 3 years when we didn't have a place to actually do the actual car show. What we used to do is have the team sign up for 30-minute slots. They could bring in their cars, and while they were inside doing the food bag assemblies, their cars were being judged, and then when their time was over, they had to leave because the next group of cars is ready to come in. And it's hard to get people to do that all the time. And I get it. If you're all about your car, because people, I mean, that's why people do it. You don't want to do the food bags. You just want to chill. You know, is it worth your time to drive across the city, in some cases hours, for 30, 45 minutes? I get it if it's not. It's not personal. I get it. So then when we have the opportunity to actually do what we did this year for the first time since 2019, I expect your ass to come out, and people did. There's a guy, Nathan, in Team Evolved, and he was in the OneAuto Council. Great guy. Try to get him on. He's really quiet. He would drive from Globe every year. So if you're local, you understand Globe's like an hour and a half away. He would drive out here to do this event and then go home. We got other people who won't drive 10 minutes, except for this year. So, you know, a lot of people to thank. Obviously, Sergio, ELG, Accident Attorneys, he's been on this show. He's got a great team, got a great crew, got a great marketing team. Obviously, Right Honda, Right Toyota, my podcast sponsors, they always come up in a huge way. You got Street Side Classics, we sponsored as part of Hard Parking Podcast. Taylor and Trey with their Hawaiian food truck, Ohana Barbecue. Lone Star Kitchen, NOS Energy Drinks, always comes out to the shows and hands out free energy drinks for everyone. You know, there's a few others. Obviously, Superior Image was there. Just a lot of people, but this year, between donations and cash donations and registrations, we raised over $8,000, $8,100, I think $8,100, and food donations was over 42,000 meals. I think our previous high, like last year, we did 13,000 meals, and I think our first year we did like 18,000 on our second event. So none of this would be possible without the help and support of the community, the sponsors, everybody who was there, whether you had a car there or not, just physically being there or helping assemble the food bags or just being there, period, and showing what we're doing on social media. 1,000 thank yous. You guys are the best. We wouldn't be here without you. I know that's very cliche, but it's true. Putting the unity in community, over 42,000 meals. Let's get into some car news. So this news comes from Texas, published by The Drive. I'm sure everybody has, in the car community, has heard of this right now, has heard of this by now, and it's very polarizing. You have to tread lightly. One of the Texas Cars and Coffees bans Mustangs, Chargers, and Camaros due to the idiot burnouts. That's exactly what this article is listing. The event claims the ban is temporary, but a lot of people aren't happy. This is by Peter Holderith of The Drive. So if you've been paying attention online, you see that it's a big deal at the end of Cars and Coffee. You get all the kids, because they are kids, that run out there with their phones and they hit record, and they want you, when you're pulling out, to give it a little gas. You know, they want to hear the car. They want the sound clip. They don't really want to watch you peel out and run into a pole or hit other traffic, but it happens all the time. There's compilations that galore on social media, on YouTube. Does YouTube count as social media? I don't think it does, right? But I think it gets categorized as that. But Cars and Coffee fails. Mustang fails. And unfortunately, these cars are so torquey, and you have people who typically don't know how to drive those cars pulling out of Cars and Coffee and just slamming on the gas, trying to do something cute, lose control of the car, and it crashes into someone else. And so now, I mean, think about it. You got the Hellcats. Those things are a gajillion horsepower. The Camaro guys, Mustang guys. But I have a lot of friends that have those cars, and I'm wondering what their thoughts are. I mean, I can understand there's a lot of people really pissed about this. But the reality is, and this is really going to suck, and this is going to really sound elitist, there's a lot of people that go to these big events that aren't there to see Mustangs and Chargers and Camaros. That's an everyday person's car. Now, there's special ones, for sure. But even that, to your average person, they all look the same. It's the same issue we had with the Hot Wheels show that I went to last month, where the Hot Wheels people were picking the cars, and there was some wild inconsistencies, I'll admit. But there were cars that weren't picked that if they were in a real car show, they certainly would have been picked. But your average person doesn't know. They can't tell. They can't tell that Camaro over there has $50,000 worth of shit all over it and it's fast as hell. It just looks like a Camaro. They can't tell that Civic is basically hand-built and it's for the track and it's broken all sorts of records. It just looks like a Civic with stickers all over it. But people get so upset. So know your crowd. Know the crowd. And unfortunately, with these Cars and Coffees events, these are the cars that are fucking it up for everyone. And so these are the cars that are getting pointed out. And a lot of the comments I've read online is everyone's like, good, glad. No one goes there to see those cars anyway. Get rid of them. But behind that steering wheel or that idiot, there's a ton of owners that are perfectly cool people, composed people, real car people. They're car people too. And unfortunately, for this specific Cars and Coffee, and who knows how long it's going to be, but for this specific Cars and Coffee, they can't attend. According to Car and Driver and 1,000 other media outlets, put it that way, Honda cancels plans with General Motors for affordable electric SUVs. After just a year and a half, Honda has decided that collaboration compact EV crossovers no longer makes any business sense. There's a lot of stuff going on with the EVs. And we've talked about it on this show. This isn't necessarily an EV focus show, nor is it a car focused podcast. There's someone I'm going to reach out to named Randy Bentia. I never say his last name correctly. But we have a friendly relationship online through cars, and he works for a major EV company right now. And maybe it's time to have him on and we can have a real talk about EVs, but it may not be I don't know if we're going to get his best, because he could be talking from a guarded space, which is why I don't really like having industry experts on as guests unless I personally know them. But it'd be an interesting conversation. Plus, I need to get him on here anyway. But yeah, Honda and General Motors were going to design these little price-efficient EVs. And, I don't know. I think I have no problem with the EV movement. I wish there were just more flat-out hybrids. Maybe they could put a lawnmower mower in a car just so it has some sort of a gas function, and then have that as a background of the EV. It's like my NSX. 3.6 liter twin turbo V6, 3 electric assisted motors. I could see where they would switch that around, maybe, where the bulk of the power is the electric motor, and then you had 3 little internal combustion motors. I don't know. But I'm not quite sure what the future of EV is. I'm not going to pretend like I know what the future of EV is. I only focus on whatever the vehicle is that I'm driving now. I try not to have too big of an opinion on any other vehicle because I'm not in the market for it. And whether I think the Honda Prelude concept is cool or if it looks stupid as hell, it doesn't matter to anyone, because I'm not in the market for it now, and I probably won't be when it comes out. And finally, the Cybertrucks are starting to come out. And, the world is full of vehicle flippers. For those of you non-car people that are still listening to this podcast, a flipper is someone who buys a car just like flipping a house, right? You buy a car, you turn around and you sell it for more than you bought it for. Call car flippers. We all know them. Are car flippers car people? Some are, some aren't. It says here, Tesla will sue you for $50,000 if you try to resell your Cybertruck in the first year of ownership. I know Acura tried to lean on dealerships for that when the Type S came out. Man, all this stuff that I think the owner of the vehicle, the owner of the dealership wasn't allowed to buy it. None of the employees were allowed to buy it. If you did buy it, you weren't allowed to sell it. There's always ways around everything. But I know that General Motors did something with the Hummer EV to where if you tried to flip that or turn around and sell it, you voided the vehicle's warranty. I don't know how that's legal. So here it says, Tesla has released the sales terms for its long-awaited Cybertruck ahead of its November 30th release. So this thing is getting ready to come out. I think I said on a previous episode that they had spotted some Cybertrucks around here from Tucson, like between Tucson and Phoenix. And I know that everyone's excited because these things are basically bulletproof. And my comment on that is that's great because Scottsdale, Arizona is so damn violent. Thank God all these people can drive around Scottsdale with bulletproof trucks. Get out of here. And that's it for car news. If this was your first time listening to the episode and you're remarkably still here and listening, thank you. Share it with anybody that you know, everyone you know. You know, the perception is, and it's really hard to break in with peers, right? I got a podcast, listen to it. You post your episodes online. Nobody really wants to see you fail, but people aren't really doing what they can in order to make sure you succeed. And some people are just guarded. Like, oh, I don't want to listen to Jay's episode. He's going to make him money. I don't want anybody I know getting rich off of me. Well, the way I have my compensation structure set up, this podcast is already, I have loyal, very loyal Patreons. Not a lot, but very loyal ones. And that's what keeps me going. Because everybody in the world, I don't know how many billion people there are in the world, like 4 billion people. Let's just say there's 4 billion. 4 billion people could listen to this podcast and it wouldn't make me a penny. Because I have no CPM. I forgot what it means, but basically you get paid per X amount of podcast. I don't have that set up. I negotiated my terms with my sponsors differently. But everybody in the world could listen to this podcast tomorrow and I wouldn't make a penny. But I get more listeners because this is a damn good show, I think. I want to thank Right Honda and Right Toyota, 4wheelonline.com and Sales Shop Wireless Services, Patreon business supporter Kuya Automotive out of Winter Garden, Florida, Automotive Specialty Tool out of Owings Mills, Maryland, Pell Construction out of Caledonia, Michigan, Beak House Small Home Design out of Ashburn, Virginia, and Traverse City, Michigan, Shaving Success with West Tankersley out of Boise, Idaho. Catch us almost every Wednesday at One Drink Wednesday. The time has changed. It's still 7 o'clock Pacific time, but for me in the mountain, in West in the mountain, it's now 8 o'clock. If you're in a position to help the podcast upgrade, you can join the Patreon for as little as $0 a month and get access to bonus audio as well as show swag. If you own a business and you want to be a business supporter, it's only $10 a month. It's $120 you can write off every year for advertising. I want to thank Mark Stolman, Catherine Cox, Eddie Ramos, Richard Graves, Byron Jones, Bo Jung, Alice Kamina, and Drew Bunkley. Questions, comments, concerns, hardparkingpodcast@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram at jfinning. Join the Hard Parking Violations Facebook group. Pick up some merch at the Hard Parking Podcast store, hardparkingpod.com. And remember, I can't grow without you telling the world how great this show is. Let's do this. Let's grow this thing together. And I'll talk to you all next week.
Shut up!